And I'll be watching another. There we go. I'm gonna be watching another one of those videos from an individual from before. I'm gonna kick off the year this way. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And this one is called Loading. No, it's not loading, but you know what I mean. And that, and this, that. And this, that. And that. Okay, let's get this show on the road then. There we go. So anyway. And I also have something funny that'll play in the background in case if something is said that is just like, why? But yeah, but anyway, let's get this on the road then.
Today we're going to be talking about Lucifer.
Okay. Alright.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mona Lyons. I'm a psychic medium and near-death experiencer and a demonologist. Now,
and Happy New Year also to you, Wildstyle.
one thing for sure is that I do not hate people that decide to worship entities that are like fallen angels, demons, or whoever. If you want to worship the tooth fairy, that is at your discretion. That's your choice. But here's the thing. You cannot expect a positive outcome when you are following a negative vibrational entity.
If you're new here and don't know, Lucifer, the true one, is actually one who brings enlightenment and is a guru to people. Brings enlightenment to them and brings them out of death. In fact, if you go towards him, he'll actually ask you, what do you want? Any wish you desire, just be specific, and I'll do my best to get it to you. Because he wants you to enjoy the world. So I'm not really fitting for negative, but I'll just keep going.
Clear as day, that's the reality. When you listen to them talk about how the spirits are positive and they're changing their life,
Stereotype.
it's triggering.
Triggering?
Because I have seen so many people go through hell because of these exact same spirits. I want to talk.
Yes. That's what his name translates to. The light bringer, the light bearer. But also, you know, like the word enlightenment. He bestows enlightenment to people. He makes them become aware. Helps them be able to see. And believe it or not, Lucifer is very almost near identical to a Hindu deity, Shukracharya, who is essentially the one that brings people, the Asuras, out of death and out of suffering. And he's a guru to them. And both of them are associated with the planet Venus, which is also all about luxury, comforts, being able to live life in a comfort and peaceful manner. Lord Shiva? Well, Lord Shiva's, it could be said, I believe it's, Shukracharya is Shiva's son, I believe. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, but nonetheless, yeah. And Lucifer, while some say that he's malefic driven, he's not. Because at the end of the day, why would a Venetian divine want you to suffer when it's all about luxury, comforts, and having fulfillment of wishes being bestowed? And also over women and the spouse figure?
Heavily about this with respect. There's a lot to say about this. These people go through hell because of these exact.
And also another chime in. To be honest, hell is actually the world.
spirits. I want to talk heavily about this with respect. There's a lot to say about this. Okay, so as a demonologist, I've met Lucifer, okay? I do
So have I. Pleasant. Like if you have honey speak to you, that's the best I can describe him.
take these videos seriously. I do not make these videos to disrespect people.
And why are you calling Satanists, occultists, and others of the left-handed path, why are you calling them threats?
But here's the issue that a lot of people have a problem with is that sometimes the truth hurts.
Yes, and funny enough, the truth is something that is neither bad or good. Sometimes it could be relieving, or it can devastate. Either way, it doesn't care how you feel. It is what it is.
Okay? So if you can't take the heat, then don't worship the demon.
I'm just gonna play this thing. Yeah. Right from the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland.
That's kind of how my is these days. Because
And funny enough too, speaking of that, since Lucifer is a Venetian divine, and Venus actually having dominion over Taurus, luxury, wealth, the senses, and comforts, and fixed assets, and then the sign of Libra, negotiations, business partnerships, and having the able to balance out and give and take, and being able to disperse one's interactions with other people and communicate with people on a large scale. Fits.
the reality is that these entities, like Lucifer, who is a fallen angel,
Oh, we're going to right from the Abrahamic political stuff.
is very negative. Here's what I have to say about this. Lucifer is very handsome and very beautiful. He's very, very kind. This is true, and it's because the guy's an angel. That's why he's so gorgeous.
Have you seen? If you were to see like how an angelic looks as it's originally intended to be, you would be mortified.
I've met Lucifer. The second I met him, I was wowed.
Yep. And here's another little interesting little tidbit. Fun fact: the fall of him is actually relating to the effect when Venus, like the planet, actually goes behind or does the great dip with the sun, becoming invisible, meaning that Venus goes to die, and then a few weeks later reemerges reborn. So now we compare that with Lucifer. Lucifer getting casted out of heaven, throne going behind the sun, casted out, left to die, dead behind the sun. He swears to rise again, and then when Venus comes out, he rises again. And when he rises, he brings people out of death and out of ignorance. But that's none of my business.
He's absolutely gorgeous. He is absolutely breathtaking. He's definitely extremely sexy and
Why? This is the thing I don't get. Why are you starting off negative, then going positive, then going negative, and I don't get it. Usually that shows that somebody doesn't have a firm foundation in what their experiences are, or even the subject at hand. Because, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of attractive people in the world, but not all attractive people are good-hearted.
anyways. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, as a woman, as a person, yeah, he was impressive. But here's the thing. a fallen angel. And I haven't talked about fallen angels enough, so this is really a formal kind of me talking about this for the first time with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So formally known as from the Bible, Lucifer got jealous of Michael, and he got jealous in heaven. He wanted to be like,
Oh, this one? This one is actually my own Lilith mix. And this mixture, every time that I've used it, the scent changes. I don't know why it does that, but every time it smells different. Like right now, it's a really gentle violet, and it has a bit of a cinnamon bite at the end. And square it back on, shake it up again. That smells like pink pepper, patchouli, and a little bit of ylang-ylang. It does it every time. It's never the same.
Similar to God or whatever, and he was damned and he was taken down to hell. The truth about Lucifer.
It is. Lucifer, well, I mean, the thing is, the divine beings, for us to better understand them, I thought about something, by the way, but I haven't really had the means to actually really sell it yet, if that makes sense, but I've had the thought of it, but divine beings, they do not have the, let's just say they're not bound by the, like, gender, but essentially for us to better understand it, there's the masculine and the feminine energies. That's how us humans can best perceive them. As an energy, Lucifer, while being of Venus, which is a feminine energy, and him being usually seen as a masculine energy, you can kind of see how that can be kind of interchangeable, if that makes sense. But at the core of it, most spirits generally do not have a strict assigned way of expressing themselves as in being male or female. One exception is Lilith. Well, I don't think I can explain that one, but just for an idea.
For what I've actually known about him, what he told me specifically, and I learned this from him because I gave him a chance to tell me his story. He was very articulate.
Very articulate? Well, that's Taurus and Libra. And that's actually a really good investment. And, what was I going to say about this? Specifically, since Venus is retrograde right now, I believe it's still in Capricorn. Lucifer is not Lord Shiva. And Lucifer, to best give as close parallel as I can with the Hindu mythology, is actually Shukracharya, the Graha associated with Venus. Shukracharya, the guru to the Asuras. Pretty almost near identical. Pretty close. And I know right now, Venus is, I believe, still in Capricorn in retrograde motion, I believe. And I'm trying to find one card from this deck because
Very kind in many instances, and he was, and this sounds crazy, right? You're like, whoa, why are you saying Lucifer's nice?
well, because don't you think a divine that's all about wanting you to enjoy your life and take as much as you can from this earth, so that way you can fulfill your desires, so that way you can focus on divinity 100%, not get distracted? Don't you think, that would be a kind thing to do? Heck. How would you respond if I was to tell you that if you fulfilled all your desires and you want to try and find your purest sense of divinity and actually experience it, even though it may have you leave the earth and be off this plane? What if I was to tell you, if you went to him, Lucifer, to ask him that, what do you think his response would be? If you said yes, he would be more than happy to and really ecstatic to. You've chosen correctly. He's so focused on your sense of comfort and happiness and joy that he's even willing to help you exit his world to get it. To leave his plane of enjoyment, just so that way you can attain a desire. Yeah, that's intense. But if you notice right here, there's Venus in Capricorn. Venus went retrograde in Capricorn, so that could possibly be a sign that you should invest alongside Lucifer starting now.
Let me continue, and you'll see what I'm saying. Lucifer is very egocentric.
No. No. How can a being who's all about focusing on other people and trying to get them their best and their comfort and their sense of fulfillment and enjoyment, how can he be egotistical when he gives it to other people?
He really loves attention unhappy.
He's not like this. Notice me, please. No, that's not how he operates. Because he's more concerned about, what can I do for you? What of my world can I give to you so you can enjoy? Anything. Just be specific. And the reason why to be specific is when you're specific, he knows exactly what to get you. He doesn't want to guess. He doesn't want to play these. Maybe he'll like this. Well, how about this? No, he wants to know what it is 100% so that way he gets it right the first time. And that way there's no mistakes.
He's very big about attention. He's very egotistical.
He's not, no.
He was all about glam, about his appearance. And he really loves it when you give him full attention. Now, well, if you're nice to him, will he be nice to you back? Absolutely.
What do you expect when you're being hospitable and considerate to an entity? It's just like if you're talking to another person. Being mindful, considerate, and, loving. I mean, well, usually when it's like a stereotypical of like somebody who's egotistical, their son probably would be over like really too strong, like way out there. But in a way, you can also say like say for an example, if somebody did have a Venus that's like really weak and really all about just like having their desires fulfilled and completely not being considerate of others, then probably. But to put it simply here, I can get what I usually do is I use this thing. I just like this, maybe the top, and I'm gonna figure out a way to get that more visible, but I don't know if you can see it. Try this. You scooch this out of the way, get that out of my life, get this out of my life, and let's just click this open. Can you kind of see? Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. And whenever you can ask him of something, just simply have to be lit. Up came as far as I might as well. Oh wow, that thing is already. That is a strong flame. Yeah, that is a strong flame. But anyway, yeah. I just light this, and pretty much whatever wish that I have, I just put it underneath for for a short bit. I usually don't keep this long. Keep it lit for long.
But is he very sexual? Indeed.
Why do you think that he's sexual? He doesn't. If you want to learn how to actually do that, he can teach you that, but he's not going to do it with you. And that, he's not. Oh.
He's very, very sexual.
How would you know? I mean. Yeah, but the thing is, when you ask. It kind of moved a little bit. When you ask of him something, ask him in a way that's. Well, you're not really asking him, but just pretty much you're giving the gratitude of it already being there. And saying alongside. Yeah, this thing's now going crazy. Let me turn it over so you can see it. So essentially what you would be doing is you would say the wish that you are wanting, but say it as if you already had it. And usually what I like to say at the end of it is saying tatatsu, which means so be it. So you say whatever your request is that you're wanting to have. Say it as in gratitude, as in saying thank you for whatever the desire is. Tatatsu. So be it.
He loves to take pleasure in women.
Well, now the thing is, when you're talking about, if you're going to be asking for like an abundance of wealth, Rusty, where have you been? Where have you been? I thought you fell off the face of the earth. Where the heck have you been? Like, come on, dude. I haven't seen you since last year. Even something as simple as printing it off, or you can just have it be like on your phone screen, and just take a look at them. Yeah, but really, at least how I like to look at it, it's just like, why be afraid of a divine that wants you to enjoy life and is wanting to help you learn and give you your wishes and your desires? Why be afraid of something so giving? There's Z. At first I thought you said J. Like, why is it always Z with the J's? Like Z with the BJ's? I'm not going to go anymore with that.
It becomes very, very lucid. Pleasure indeed. He's very, very sexual. He loves to take pleasure in women.
Well, since Venus, the planet, and Shivacharya do have dominion over women, but not in that way. Well, good, because good thing that you're back, at least.
It becomes very, very lucid, and he will meet you on the astral realm if you ask him to. And like I said, I have met Lucifer, and I actually asked him if he could meet me on the astral realm. Not even kidding. That exact night, he showed up in my room, and I was very alarmed.
Well, you asked him to come, so he came to visit you. Why are you afraid? Like, well, would you mind meeting me on the astral world? Yeah, sure, of course. Oh. No.
But not like scared.
And this is the thing that I've really stressed to people. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. If you don't know what you're talking about, just don't even attempt it. Because it's gonna make yourself look like, wow, dim-witted.
He's not like a demon, okay?
Well, of course not. He's not a demon. He's a divine being.
So fallen angels are not ugly entities.
Well, okay, so if that's the case. So if fallen angels aren't ugly, what does that make the real ones? And how they really look? Holy snapple.
They are beautiful. I mean, they're angels. They're absolutely beautiful.
Well, angelics are not the prettiest thing to look at. I'm just saying.
The problem here is that this is where they can be deceiving.
Angelics, yeah, they may put on a persona like, oh, divine and pure, and only doing benefit and good things. Really? Because whatever their Yahweh commander says to do, they do it without question.
Now, could a fallen angel be good for you in the long run?
Grants your wishes no matter what they are. It even helps you get to the highest point of your spiritual awareness and awakening to get you off this planet, off of his world. Yeah, he'll give that to you. No matter what it is, teach you anything you want to know. Because he wants you to enjoy and having that sense of fulfillment. So, yes.
That depends on what you're trying to accomplish in your life.
And also, Venus also leaves a legacy.
Fallen angels, like Lucifer, can help you to attain physical things that you desire,
Okay, basic.
such as money, all that, da-da-da-da, but at a cost.
No. He's selfless. Because if you're going to be giving enjoyment to somebody, they shouldn't have to sacrifice something for it. Because enjoyment is being free of suffering. Having to sacrifice a part of you, like even like paying for something, that's sacrifice of you.
Now here's the thing, Lucifer doesn't care about your soul.
He does, because he wants you to enjoy the earth as much as you can, and then when you are ready to go to a higher state of spiritual awareness, he'll help you take you there.
It's not like that. But does he work with demons and with Satan? Yes. What he does is he gets close to people and gains their trust, and you start worshiping Lucifer. But what people don't realize is they think it's safer with a fallen angel.
You know, every time I hear fallen angel, I think, oh, she's possessed by Abrahamic BS.
And you don't have to worry about your soul being in danger, such as when you die or go to hell.
You know, if you're going to be talking about my matron divine, you know, can you at least, stop misusing her name?
This is where it becomes more menacing because you have to worry about him losing control of you. And what that means is when you die, all of a sudden the demons or Satan will actually take control of your soul.
No. I'm just going to play this. Literally.
In that moment when you die, and you're fucked, basically. That's pretty much what it is. And Lucifer does not look to acquire souls. It's not like that. What I've learned is he does like people that worship him. He doesn't.
You know, I really like the people that worship me. Well, who wouldn't? If you have a fanboy club and they're getting all woozy-woo about you, well, of course you're going to like it. Because you're being praised. Hey, Adam.
not really primarily their goal. That's not what they do because they're already so pure in energy. So even though
They're not pure.
they're fallen angels, they're still very pure. I did.
Yeah, because, I mean, don't get me wrong. I really, well, for one, I really hope people find it entertaining watching me be like, really? Let me clean up this mess. Oh, something popped.
Speak with Archangel Michael, and I spoke heavily with him about this. He's so divine. He's the sweetest.
No, he's not. He's not. Talk about barbaric. Just saying.
Wonderful, most wonderful angel.
Oh, actually, speaking of that, oh, aren't you being a little polarized? Oh, well, this angel's bad because by somebody's religious book and, them taking out parts of it. Oh, this one's bad and the other one's good. Oh. He's not sweet. Wow. I honestly don't. Especially like when she was like, oh, Lilith, you're a pimp, huh? Why are you calling her a pimp? Second, you're calling a divine being a pimp? Okay. Nice. Splendid. And if somebody's thinking that, well, Lilith doesn't really care about women's rights and women's standing and wants to keep them suppressed and, totally against women getting their empowerment and standing up for themselves.
He's so beautiful, so modest, and even there's times where when he was talking to me about this, he loves Lucifer so much. But it hurts him knowing that Lucifer went to this route where he does work with demons. He does work with Satan. And one of the things about Lucifer that really upset me was, and here, the reason why I know this is because when I allow Lucifer to be in my home, and I know you guys think I'm nuts, but
Think? You don't know what you're talking about, lovely.
I believe that with certain spirits, I should give them a chance, kind of like in court, innocent until proven guilty.
You should do that with any spirit. But the thing is, yes, you may. I'm not going to put some more oil on this thing, but yes, what's your question, Adam? No, that happened. Let's see, we'll put in. No. Because the thing is, metaphorically, hell, the underworld, is actually the home of the Asuras, demons, or people, or Asuras, or demons. Lucifer is a guru to the Asuras, the demons. Shivatarya is a guru to the Asuras, the people.
And so that's what I did. I said, you can hang out and I'll let you be here if you promise that you obey my rules and you respect my space. This is my home. That's it. He was like, okay, cool. So for a while, we were fine. And he was very kind to me. He has amazing energy. I'm not going to lie.
How can you just go from, like, he has such negative energy and so toxic to amazing. Make up your mind, hon.
Like I am going to say this, they're fallen angels. They do have very powerful energy. But is that energy high vibrational? No. Can it be? Yes. Yes, but it's not. They choose low vibrational energy.
How can giving fulfillment and wishes and bestowing out of suffering, how is that malefic?
So it's very physical, egocentric, and very, very selfish.
Selfish? What is he going to be selfish about when he's trying to give you comfort?
Very selfish energy. See, it's hard to describe. You can tell the difference when you're around them. And don't get me wrong, when you're around Lucifer, you will definitely feel his presence. You will definitely see him absolutely in your mind's eye. He will whisper in your ear. He will compliment you.
Because that's his nature to compliment you.
Talk to you. But that's only for what he says. It's only.
Well, one, body language. Two, there's no confidence in her voice. Three, if you're really confident with something, you wouldn't go be like a pendulum with your standing. Like, you'd be standing firm and not moving it. Too wishy-washy. Third, some things don't add up. And four, do you really think, let's see, do you think Loth would actually be having entities that she would be acting like a pimp to? Too classy for that.
For people that he feels he really wants to be around. So it's also based on your energy frequency and da-da-da-da. Does he still take your energy to borrow? Not necessarily.
No, he doesn't.
At least that he didn't do that to me. And that's because they're angels. They don't need to borrow energy. Angels have a very specific energy frequency in themselves, so they don't really need to borrow energy from a person.
Okay, so whatever you say about him doing that, completely invalid.
But would they, if they really, really wanted to do something paranormal with a human? Yes, they would. And a typical angel that's benevolent, that's not a fallen angel, would not do that ever. Archangel Michael, Gabriel, even Nithiel, who's my guardian angel recently that I've met, they would never do that. Based on boundaries, that's where they would start, fallen angels would start overstepping energetic boundaries. But the biggest thing that I really want to target here is when I told Lucifer he could stay, it did not take very long, and then sure enough, Lucifer came up to me. He was on the astral realm at one point, and I was working, and then all of a sudden I was in the astral realm, and I was like, what's up? And he said, I'm going to do something. And so what he did was, he said, do you trust me? And I was like, well, that depends. What do you do? What's on your mind? What do you want to do? He said, I know you've been healing and you've been hurt, and I think I know a way to help you. And I was like, okay, what? And then sure enough, walking through my door was King Payman walking through, and I said, no. Get the fuck out of my house.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Pissed. That is a violation of my privacy, my boundaries. That's a fuck no. You do not allow demons like that in my home, angel or not. No. And Lucifer crossed the line. He knew this. The worst part was when Payman came up to me all creepy and gave me like these puppy dog eyes.
Well, through like the astral side, you can detect it, if that makes sense. But I kind of.
And then he's tried to apologize for what he did to me. And I
Right.
said, puppy dog, our part was when Payman came up to me all creepy and gave me like these puppy dog eyes, and then he's tried to apologize.
If an entity is coming to you to apologize for a mistake or an accident or a misunderstanding on their part, and they're trying to make an amend,
For what he did to me. And I said, yeah, good, get the fuck out, or I'm gonna make you leave. And what people don't know is I'm a light warrior. So if you're new to my channel, I'm a light worker and a light warrior as a demonologist, as a psychic medium. So I've ascended to different levels, to a higher level of energy frequency. So I'm able to actually fight entities on other realms. That's how I help my clients. That's
right?
how I help people. I'll tell you right now, he definitely took advantage of my trust a little.
And then my next question, how do you know that King Paimon didn't just come in on his own?
Bit trust I gave him. I was testing to see what he would do. He violated it within less than 48 something hours. Less.
Again, how do you know Lucifer intentionally brought King Paimon to you?
In a few days, he even tried to reason with me and tell me that Payman is not all that bad, and
He's not. Once you get to know him and understand him.
he'll try to be better. He'll try to change. I was like, what Payman are you talking about? The one that tortured me in hell? Yeah,
No, King Paimon does not torture people. He doesn't.
don't think this is the same entity you're talking about. And if it is, you're out of your mind. I have a very, very big rule that when a demon or any entity tortures me or any person, you are.
How long did you have it on? I saw a shadow right there.
Done. I'm done. I cut you off. Not happening anymore. Demons and entities like Lucifer, they have a hierarchy system. And what this does is Lucifer is actually in control of Haman.
King Paimon is actually Lucifer's devotee, yes. But, again, how do you know King Paimon didn't just come on his own? He didn't go to your space on his own will. That's the real question in that, anyway.
So Lucifer is actually higher up than Haman. So even though Haman's a king, Lucifer is actually.
I did. Everything that she says in there, I don't even know what to say. It's just like, don't call her a pimp, and don't be a stereotype. And being egotistical? No, that's self-confident.
Higher. And that's because Lucifer works closely with Satan. So the second I saw him, I immediately went into warrior mode.
This isn't like Final Fantasy, but okay.
Manifested myself into my warrior outfit.
No. 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 Lilith doesn't do that intentionally, besides. If using seduction on somebody and going into their mind and their thoughts and actually having them think over what they did, like, oh, This is entity mad at me. No, maybe she meant this. Well, maybe she meant that. I don't know. Now I'm confused. I don't know what to do. So I'm all in my head. Lilith isn't like that at first, but when it gets to a point where she's had enough. Whoops, all I can say.
And I change my appearance every now and then, a lot actually, because it's hella fun. I mean, it's fun, not hell, you know what I mean? When it came down to this, I was extremely serious in that moment, so I asked Archangel Michael to immediately also appear. And so he didn't hesitate a second. When Michael showed up, him and Lucifer exchanged glances, exchanged conversation. Lucifer was not happy that I wanted Michael there. That's when he politely made Haman leave. Even though I have the ability to cast out demons.
Everybody has the ability to do that. Everyone can do that. And it doesn't matter what kind of spirit it is. Everyone can do that.
Sometimes I still feel safer having an archangel there.
If you bring in an archangel, you better be on your A game, because if you're not, by Yahweh's standards, they're going to smack you one.
Because it's wiser.
Wiser. Okay. And also, let me grab this real quick. By any chance, there's another. Oh. And I'm also, so that way you know, I'm also not a practicing Satanist. I did go down the left-handed path, and I was one, but I was dismissed by Satanists. But I still am allied with it, but anyway. And here's another hell. There's another hell. A Norse goddess hell. Pretty much the deity that I'm the most close with. Let me put it back in your spot. And I've been close with her for 5 years now. It's going to be 5 years this February on the 7th. Hey, Michael.
You don't know what to expect with demons, and I've learned this very quickly, so it's always important that you always have backup. And people you trust, souls that you trust, to be there in support for you, for your safety overall, and for your family.
Stereotype.
I did not trust Lucifer at all to cast out, to make Haman leave. And at that point, when Haman did leave, me and Michael, we were discussing the situation. I said, can you address something from me with Lucifer? He said, sure, but what is it? Why are you talking with Lucifer? And Michael, Archangel Michael, was very sincere. He didn't judge me. That I was just curious of what.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to be interacting with their enemy, they're not going to be gentle. They're going to be cutthroat.
I wanted to understand, was he really a fallen angel, or was he just a misunderstood being,
He is.
like a lot of people say?
Because he is.
I was giving him a chance.
He is misunderstood because a bunch of religious he-who-fonts want to actually pervert and decay a divine being's presence and their reputation because they cannot have people know the truth. Because God forbid that they find out that, oh, Lucifer wants us to enjoy, but that's bad. We're bad people. We made a mistake. We sinned. We must be cleansed of our imperfections. Even Yahweh has imperfections. Why he can't be trusted. Even Yahweh has imperfections, and even he has sinned, advocated loath to be raped, demanded her to be violated. That's a sin. Demanding someone be raped, that's a sin. Advocating for someone to be violated and mistreated and abused, that's sin. No ifs, ands, buts, or tushies about it, and there's no way around it. Because if that's the case, okay, then it's like rape. If there's going to be any kind of And now, don't get me wrong, I'm one of those that does applaud when things are said correctly and actually are giving right information. I do applaud it, and even many times too, I even make it known that if I ever say something that I'm incorrect, and if somebody knows, to correct me right then and there if they know, because I'd rather have the BS be purged, and I'd rather be wrong than continuing false information all over the place. And then resume that.
Show me his true colors. Lo and behold, pretty obvious of what his agenda was. I even spoke to Michael, and he said, no, Melinda, he does work with Satan. I said, what? And he said, yeah, he does work with Satan. He absolutely does. And I said, but does he gather souls like Satan does? Like, does he still enslave people? He said they can. They have done that before.
Well, why would you put someone in enslavement if you want them to be enjoying their time here? Counterintuitive.
But typically they don't make slaves, they make followers. And this is when it gets a little bit more complicated, where they like to attract people and get them to believe that he can be trustworthy. But angels have the same ability to help you have healing, to have good prayer, good luck. They can even make things happen for you in your favor. You don't have to go to demons for the same thing.
Well, the thing is the angelics, if it doesn't fit Yahweh's agenda, they won't even consider you.
Angels can do the same thing for you.
No, they can't. If it's not by Yahweh's plan, if it doesn't have him gain, won't do a thing. Because they're bound to that.
Have to ask. To be honest, I didn't even know that for the longest time until I just asked. And they said, yeah, we can do that for people. They just always assume that we can't. And I think the reason why a lot of people don't like asking angels is because they feel like they are asking for something unfairly.
If you want something, ask for it. Regardless of what it is. Asking for something is not being unfair. Just ask for it.
Wrong, or that it's selfish.
Here we go again. The same thing I repeat every time. In your life, in your awareness, you personally, everything else does not matter if you're not in your best state, happiest state, not well. Because when you're down, in a depressed state or in a down state, nothing matters except you getting back standing. And until you stand back up, nothing matters until you're back up. Doesn't matter who, what, or whatever it is. Nothing matters until you're standing back up. Once you're standing back up and able to function and live and be consistent, then you can care about others. Because when you give yourself to the point of exhaustion, you have nothing left, and you're down, you're killing yourself. When you're standing on your own 2 feet and able to walk and function, and you can do it for a long period of time and sustain yourself and keep yourself in a state of security, then you can be considerate and concerned about others. Because the thing is, if you're down and you're gone, the world ends. If you're dead, there's no world in your perspective. So you have to come first. There's no such thing as being selfish. You have to put yourself first. Because without you, this world wouldn't exist. It's not selfish. If you have to do what you have to do for you, for your enjoyment, have at it. The angelic, like here's an example. If I was to actually go to one of the angelics, they would not take kindly to that, and they would actually respond in a very aggressive manner. I don't think I have to explain that one. They wouldn't help me, and quite frankly, want nothing to do with them, because it's the same kind of result every time they come towards me. Complete utter discord, and it's a hot mess. So I'm just don't even bother them. And with Yahweh, yes, He makes the call, because even if you do approach one of them and they agree to work with you, if Yahweh tells them stop, they have to stop. I asked the assistants from Gabriel, Michael, and Raphael. 3 at once. Nothing. Saw that you need slick.
But even Archangel Michael and my guardian angel Mithiel explained to me that they're able to do all kinds of things just as much as demons and fallen angels can do and more, and at the benefit of you not being in enslavement for all eternity or even losing your soul existence in hell, putting people in a very
I didn't respond.
dangerous situation. Yeah, beauty on the outside is one thing.
Stereotype.
His soul is a totally different vibration. He's tricking you.
Right.
Putting people in a very dangerous situation. Yeah, beauty on the outside is one thing. His soul is
He doesn't have.
a totally different vibration. He's tricking you just based on his appearance. And I understand because he seems like a nice entity.
He's not trying to lose you. In fact, that's not even in his agenda.
But in actuality, though,
Stereotype. Again.
I listened as he sat there and he literally tried to see, he actually said in front of me in my home that Satan is not a bad entity.
He's not. It's just that you can't handle him. It's too heavy for you. And you're pretty much sticking to a stereotype about other people's experiences with him instead of your own.
And Satan's a good entity.
Well, he's Saturnian. Very Saturnian. Well, I mean, how could I go wrong with actually saying their names and asking them to appear to me and assist me with something?
And he will always follow and worship Satan. Lucifer said this in front of me.
Oh, that's not Lucifer.
Honestly, it still blows my mind that I saw this, that I experienced it for that way. It really did surprise me, and it really disappointed me. And I even told him, I was like, man, you gotta go. You can't be here anymore. I'm sorry. I just can't have you here. And I was like, look, you follow what you follow. I'll respect that, but you keep that shit out of.
Well, the thing is, either way, I can't go towards them because they're going to automatically respond negatively.
My home, you keep that fucker out of my home. Do not come back here and you bring your fucking entourage with you.
Really? Entourage, huh?
That's not okay. And at this point, as far as I'm concerned, Lucifer's never allowed back here.
Well, good. Because he probably doesn't even want to. Because it's really inhospitable.
I don't want him back here. I don't want that shit here.
Stereotype.
And it's all negative, but
It's getting old.
vibration. And these spirits, fallen angels, are basically, they weren't damned. They're not the damned. They're not.
It's rehashing the same thing over and over again.
Not forced anywhere. They're basically like their own hierarchy of soldier angels, archangels. Lilith is one of them.
No! No! Lilith is not an angel. She's not an archangel. And, why would she be anywhere associated with those that killed her children? No.
Fallen angel as well.
No. No. You think I'm gonna... God.
And she's nasty.
Oh. At least I'm not fake. Well, that happened.
We'll talk about her later.
Oh. Okay.
Pretty dark. It's actually really startling how dark she is.
Oh, here we go again. You don't even know me, dear, and me, dark? Duh.
But to be honest with you, I would not be doing you guys a service, a true service, if I wasn't giving you this feedback of my honest opinion.
It's not an honest opinion because you're going along with somebody else's experience, not your own.
And demonology opinion. And psychic medium experiences of what I've experienced firsthand. Lucifer is not good.
Does she ever shut up? Because, you know, it's kind of like that annoying, you know, like when you try and open the door and it squeaks real loud? That way, you know, like if you're trying to sneak out of the house, and every time that door opens, there's a loud noise. Yeah.
Period. Doesn't matter what you say. And he will put you in very dangerous situations if you're not careful.
Oh. Again, he didn't put you into that situation based on what you said.
The angels that followed him they were kind, but again, they're a lot like very negative, very, very powerful.
Very stereotypically said.
Negative earthbound souls.
And no. An earthbound spirit is someone who used to be a human, but they didn't cross over correctly, now they're earthbound. They're stuck on the earth plane, but as a spirit. Also known as an intranquil spirit, like John the Minor.
A lot like that, but they have a lot more power, a lot more authority, and a lot more ways to deceive you and trick you and even bait you with more deception.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael. Well, the thing is, best explain it, Adam. You have somebody who actually refuses to allow a tyrant to get away with the BS that he's been getting away with for so many thousands of years and stands up against it. When you have troops or those who represent that being defending him, what do you think their first response is going to be when someone who stands against him? How do you think they're going to respond to that person? Aggressive. That's natural. And angelics are not always in a state where they're willing to help. If it doesn't fit his agenda, they won't do it. Because they are bound to abide by what he says to do. Regardless. And that's just how it is.
It's not advisable to follow a fallen angel or trust them ever. It's really upsetting. It really is. And it really did crush Michael just talking to him about it. He was in tears. He was really adorable.
That's not Satanism. That is not Satanism. You cannot be a Satanist and work alongside the angelics. It doesn't work. That's asking for disaster. They're occultists. That's not Satanism. I'm not Satanist. I'm allied with them, and I advocate for them, but I'm not Satanist. Besides, just for the information, the left has actually invested more in me, and I've gained a lot more from the left than the right ever could have done. And I mean, not once, not even when I had my attempted suicide attempt about 5 years ago. It's actually when I met Hill. Where was he? He wasn't there. They didn't stop me at all. They didn't even show concern. She did. Hell did. And I mean, that's where I'm standing. That's not going to get moved. And in fact, here's another thought. How come she can accept anybody, regardless of what they did, regardless of their mistakes in life, while he has to bribe you and intimidate you? That's not love. If you love something, you accept it for no matter what it is, and you don't tell them there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with everything, even him. Nothing is completely pure. Nothing. Is either you can go towards him and be with him in heaven and have paradise. Okay, I'll put it this way. If you have to have a belief that strikes fear and terror into someone, that they're going to be damned in a place of suffering if they don't go towards this direction, that's corrosive. You shouldn't have to do that with anybody. Besides, he can't even follow his own rules. He can't. If he's a jealous God, he can't do that. That's envy. He cannot be envious. Adultery. He impregnated a man's wife. Doesn't matter if it's different. He still impregnated Our Lady Mary. That's her title. He still did it. Adultery. Cut dry. Is it or is it not? There is no other excuses. Did it happen? Yes or no? It did? Adulterer. Cut, dry, done. There's no justification. There's no reason behind it. Still did it. And no. Because the thing is saying that, well, some exceptions had to be made? No. The commandment is broken. Broke the commandment. It is what it is. There's no such thing as something being completely pure. And having to put down the followers of a belief, that's not how your interaction with divinity is supposed to be. It's supposed to make you feel like you're growing and you're actually finding a better purpose in life and your life's improving. Nope. Sin is an opinion. What's sin to me may not be sin to you. What's sin to you may not be sin to me. Yeah. Of course, but still. The only thing that I can use and put forward is what I know and what I've experienced and what's logically deductive reasoning from what I've learned. Hands on. And also not only restricting the thought from actually questioning and throwing everything out. Because every option, for example, like how supposedly Yahweh doesn't have sin in him, if that's the case, then he never would have acted the way he did towards Lilith in the first place. He wouldn't have advocated her to be violated and raped and told to be kept quiet. Well, for one, Yahweh wouldn't take no from an answer. He wouldn't accept that Lilith was like, no, I don't want to be with you, dude. No. So she had to find a way to get away from him. So she went down to the world of Eden that he was tricked into making just to get away from him. And then when he demanded her to be violated and had no say and just let Adam have his way, not you, of course, you know what I mean. Pretty much having your sense of dignity and your well-being and your standing, indirectly saying, nope, you cannot say no, you have to submit and F what you think. That doesn't sit well. And then when she self-exiled herself, he sent his angelic to her to bring her back. She said no. They murdered her children. So she went back and got vengeance by infecting Adam and Eve with sin. Not really known, but it does show that it also does kind of symbolize and it does show that one of the things that man is the most afraid of is a woman that they cannot have any control of. Which to me is like, okay, why is that something to be scared of? Wouldn't you want to inspire and encourage that and want her to express her creativity? I don't see anything wrong with that. But I kind of see it as a necessity. Probably the best example has to be like how it is done in the Middle East and how they treat the women over there. To be completely honest, that's not a faith, that's not a belief system, that's a cult. Because who in their right mind thinks it's okay to strike a woman for not having something on her body and not having her face covered, God forbid? Or here's my favorite one. And even then too. Having the real power comes from how you use it and how you actually go about implementing it. You shouldn't have to be afraid of harming people and, risk losing it if you're willing to use it to help and assist your people. You shouldn't have to worry about losing it. if you're doing your best to do what's best for the people, you don't have to worry about losing it. Because the people trust you and they actually accolade you for all you've done. They're not going to want to actually remove you or have you lose your power if you're doing what's best for them and prioritizing them first. In actuality, Yeshua is actually pretty close to Brihaspati, Jupiter. And Lucifer is essentially, like what I said earlier, Shifra. Essentially the best way to describe it, Venus and Jupiter, the two gurus, they pretty much get you to the same end, but in completely different ways. Venus makes you enjoy your life, fulfill your desires, and then after when you fulfill everything, and then when you want to experience divinity of the spirits, Shifra will guide you to that. Because through that way, you won't be distracted by anything of the earth. You'll be able to focus and stick to it. Now the reverse. If you go Jupiter's realm, you're going to be going through like blood, sweat, and tears to get to it. And you're still going to have desires to be fulfilled. That way you can get distracted so easily. The other way, you will. As the planet, yes. Also other Venetian entities too, yeah. Lucifer is actually one of them, obviously. And it's also in my astrology chart, Venus is my Atma Kartika. Essentially the Roman goddess, Venus, which is essentially identical to Aphrodite, pretty much exactly. And yes. Give me just a second.